Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Weekly Updates from Digital India Podcast. This show is brought to you by staff and students of Web Marketing Academy, and I am your host Manasi. This show gives you the latest updates in the digital marketing world in India. Today is the 8th of July 2015 and we are giving you updates of the last 7 days. Before I give you the headlines for today, I want to talk about how amazing a time we had at the social conclave organized by Convophilia at the Christ University in Bangalore on account of the Social Media Day. Web Marketing Academy joined hands with Khushbu Pandya, the founder and CEO of Convophilia, to make this event a huge success. I had the opportunity to host the show and it was a splendid experience meeting some of the stalwarts in the industry. I'm just going to read a few takeaways from what Monica, she is a faculty at WMA, she's also an independent consultant. I'm going to read a few takeaways from what Monica has listed in her blog titled Social Media Day 2015 Bangalore, My Experience and Takeaways. You'll find the link for this in the show notes below. You could check out her blog there. She speaks about how the first speaker, that's Rohit Verma, who's the founder of R Square Consulting, spoke about how to stay relevant on social media. He talks about 5C and 1A to be continuing to be relevant on social media. The 5 C's are conversations, context, communities, campaigns, channels. And the 1A he's speaking about is analytics. This is followed by the second speaker who was there on the stage for the event, and he is none other than Shakti, who is the founder of thequill.in. Now he quotes 3 instances of how people have used social media absolutely brilliantly. Okay, he's talking about a potato farmer who educated his village on farming methods by getting information from the internet from a computer in a far-off place in Kenya. The second example that Shakti gives is the Archbishop, that is Desmond Tutu. It's his 80th birthday, 80, okay? It's his 80th birthday celebration in South Africa. Dalai Lama was invited for the birthday, but then due to some political reasons, Dalai Lama was restricted from attending this event. What they did was they used Google Hangouts for a heartwarming session, and that's what they thought they should use Google Hangout for. But then the event was followed by 8.5 million viewers at that time. All they did was, let's hang out. If you can't come over, let's just talk it out on Google Hangout. But when they actually did it, there was 8.5 million viewers at that time. The third example he gives is about John, the nature photo walks that helped a woman suffering from multiple sclerosis, discovering the joy of forgotten outdoors. What happened was she was completely bedridden, but then because of John's nature photo walks that were taken over social media, she kind of got an opening to the world. So she's no longer just a bedridden woman. Because of what John did and because she could access it, she actually thought that, she was the one who was walking. In all these examples that Shakti gave, Shakti pointed out one thing, and that was the lack of encouragement of such initiatives in India. He just quickly pointed out that, how in India, social media is not being used for social causes itself. He actually called out 2 people who were present there, saying that please do at least one social tweet in a day. Spread the word. At least one Facebook post in a day. Spread the message. Use social media for social activities. The third speaker we had at the social conclave was Suresh Babu, talking about social for humans, the art of socializing. As a person from Web Marketing Academy, I completely go with this topic. Suresh has always encouraged us on, going out and socializing, meeting new people, meeting the existing ones and refreshing memories. So this is such an apt topic. Here he talked about his journey from an introvert inhabitant of Ooty to being a cook on 2 cruise lines, to being a cashier in the US, to becoming a blogger for corporate professionals, to becoming founder and CEO of Web Marketing Academy. It was brilliant the way he actually narrated the events. on how he started his career and how he landed up on being the founder and CEO of Web Marketing Academy. All throughout, he laid emphasis on the art of socializing, on the human contact, the human communication between two people. The next person to come on stage was Ritu David. She talked about social businesses, that's about leveraging social across the value chain. I must say, Ritu David, beauty and brains. Ritu David shared key pointers on the application of social media across industries and the criticality of social data in decision making. She talked about the use of social media for production chain, for HR, for optimization, manufacturing, and crisis management. She also mentioned how we should stop focusing on simple social platforms like just Facebook or just Twitter, and how avenues such as product forums, Quora, blog comments, all these things are also important, and these are important places to engage and convert your audience as much as your social network. That is what Ritu David highlighted in the conclave. And the next person to come on stage was Nakul Shenoy. Yes, the mind reader. He had all of us mesmerized. With his mind games, he actually guessed a random word some participant picked up from some random book and from some random page. What happened was there was this participant who, just randomly chose one book and randomly kind of looked at one page and then picked up one random word. And it was in his mind. And Nakul Shenoy actually guessed it. One thing he said about brand presence on social media is whether you are there or not, others will be talking about you. That's the takeaway that we have from Nakul Shenoy. Shunning social media, telling that we don't need a social media presence would be stupidity, because whether you're there or not, people will still talk about you. They're going to talk about their experience about your brand somewhere, and that's social media. The next on stage was Ganga Ganpati, and she was talking about why does social for business have to be so hard? Now, Ganga Ganpati is a VP at Ogilvy, Bangalore, and she handled the tough questions of why businesses find social media so hard to drive. She talked about micro-level interactions of choice that define user behavior on social. Then she talked about transference of ownership. She talked about need gap fulfillment. She also emphasized on how brands must work on building trust, empathy, and friendship on the social networks rather than always pitching about their products and services. She talks about how content has always been the king. Definitely yes, right? We've heard this so well and so far and so many times. Content is the king, but conversation is the key. That is how she amazingly summed up her session. The next to come on stage in the social conclave was Dr. Falguni. She is the Associate Professor and Head of Marketing Area at MICA. That's Mudra Institute of Communication. And Dr. Falguni talks about how data never sleeps and how for a brand it's a dream or a nightmare. She advocated the reinvention of content to make audiences engaged without losing the thread of familiarity and comfort through the heritage value. She said fascination leads to familiarity, which actually in turn leads to fatigue. She also talked about social consumer patterns of today, how people are actually consuming content. One is content consumption, then the second one is conversation. Then she talked about tokenism, and then she talked about feedback. The four important things that people are doing in the social network today. When it came to revisiting marketing with the 5 Ps, her emphasis lay on the 6th P, that's pace, versus how product, price, place, and promotions are equally important provided you look at the pace at which you respond. She said response time is the most important factor that helps brands build and retain relationship with target audiences today. So if you don't respond in time on social media, you have actually missed the bus. Then on stage, last but not the least, was the much awaited speaker Prashant Naidu. That's the founder of Lighthouse Insights. Now, Prashant Naidu talked about state of social media marketing in 2015. He actually talked about a couple of undiscussed cases of India. When he took the stage, he was so unassuming and so humble. Can't believe that, a founder of something as huge as Lighthouse Insight could be this humble. He talked about the good and bad aspects of strategies and the attitude of many Indian players to go only with the tested and the tried methods. The playing ground has changed and the smartest innovators are the winners. That's exactly what he quoted. He also walked us through a couple of campaigns run by brands like, Lenovo, Mountain Dew. We remember that Mountain Dew's Naam Bante Hain Risk Se. He ran us through that campaign. And then he talked about Mahindra Gusto and how they engaged bloggers to actually create some content and create that viral aspect. Then there's RCB Insider. Then he talked about Taxi for Sure. There were so many case studies that he talked about, and he talked about inside information on how did they make these campaigns happen and how it actually went viral. Well, if you want to know the inside information, you could listen to our podcast, or actually you missed the show. Sorry for that. Okay. But his advice for the social media marketers is people are very smart. They want real stories of real people. That's what works. We don't need a known brand ambassador coming and endorsing a brand. We don't need that. Thank you. We know. See, if probably Shah Rukh Khan is selling an i20, would I actually imagine Shah Rukh Khan selling would he be driving in his i20 here, there, everywhere? The question is, would they actually be using it? It's great to see his face because I kind of identify that, hey, this is Shah Rukh Khan. But then would I actually buy an i20 because Shah Rukh Khan is brand ambassador? No, I'm sorry. Okay, so give us some real stories, give us real people who have done real things, show us realities that your car can do which nobody else does. Probably I'm in for it. And those were some of the key takeaways from the social conclave that was organized on the 30th of June at Christ University, where Web Marketing Academy was the knowledge partner. So now we move on to the headlines of today. Snapchat debuts Tap to View and Nearby Friends tool. It boasts of security features. That's the first story. The second story for today is about Instagram photos and how they are now bigger and better. The third story for today is Facebook primps its logo with mobile in mind. And the fourth story is about buyable pins start rolling out right here, right today. And before we move on to the detailed stories, we have an awesome tip coming your way.
Hello, Digital India podcast listeners. This is Kaushal, and I have some great tips for you today. And the first tip that I'm going to share with you is for all the digital marketers who are basically running ad campaigns, that is PPC ad campaigns. So Google has finally addressed the fat finger ad clicks on mobile. Just in case you don't know what it is basically people who are having problem accessing the mobile phone due to having large fingers or fat fingers like they projected. So basically you click an ad by mistake. So that has been addressed by Google. So what it's done is it's understood a border and an area that an ad has to have, and beyond which you cannot click, and it will not be considered as a click. So what they've done to improve that is basically the ads will only be clickable after they've been on your screen for a particular period of time, about 5 to 10 seconds. So the user has enough time to read the content of the ad and then click on it. So basically, if the user opens a particular search query and he quickly scrolls through it and by mistake clicks on the ad, it will not be calculated as a click.
And here are the detailed stories of our major headlines. According to Forbes.com, Snapchat debuts Tap to View and Nearby Friends tool, and it also boasts of some added security features. A few months ago, Snapchat CEO Ivan hinted that the app's hold to watch feature was on its way out. Now users no longer need to keep a finger on their screens to view a snap or story. Users can now tap to view content instead. Tap to View could dismay many advertisers who liked that users needed to actively touch their screens to view an ad on the service. However, the feature should please avid users with restless fingers and could encourage them to watch even longer videos, including ads. The new feature, this means no more tired thumbs while watching a several 100-second story, and a little getting used to for anyone who has been Snapchatting for a while, the company reported to have said. We think you're going to love it. To make it easier to find and add friends, the messaging app also launched a new Add Nearby tool that lets you add several friends at once if you are in close proximity. There's also a security revamp. Snapchat is also working to regain the trust of users whose faith in Snapchat was shaken following a slew of security mishaps. Snapchat publicly announced that it had rolled out these two-factor authentication last June. And the second story we have for today is about Instagram photos, which are now bigger and better. Photos sent to the popular image sharing app that's Instagram are now being stored in a higher resolution and thus a bigger size. It's important to note that these weren't merely a 650 pixels images stretched out to fill the larger size. They were actually looking at legitimate 1080 pixel photos. That's like big photographs that you can actually upload on Instagram with quality reasonably close to the original. It's too soon to say whether Instagram's persistent issue of overcompressing images coming from its Android app has been addressed, but both Android and iOS uploads are being stored in the higher resolution right now. That's what TheVerge.com has to say about Instagram photographs, and the same story has also been carried by Forbes.com. However, Verge says, Instagram on the desktop remains a second-class citizen, as Instagram says that right now we are focused on mobile with no plans to share on the web. Well, that was a story from TheVerge.com about Instagram photographs now getting much bigger and better in quality. And before we move on to the next story, we have another tip.
Hello listeners, this is for all the Facebook enthusiasts and people who are probably looking as to what algorithm change that Facebook's included. The newest algorithm change that Facebook has included is for the video in the newsfeed. So Facebook has expanded its likes beyond the likes, comments and share of a video. Now it takes into consideration aspects like how long you watch the video for, whether you are putting the video onto full screen, whether you activate the audio on the mobile. Certain things like that are being taken into account to understand the relevance of a video onto your newsfeed. So this has been rolled out as of 30th of June and it's already in place and it's already running. So basically it will take into consideration how long you watch the video, whether you turn it into full screen, whether you turn on the high definition channel, or whether you activate the audio. So all this is going to, take place in account for your newsfeed.
The third story we have for today is from Forbes.com, and they are talking about Facebook primping its logo with mobile in mind. Facebook altered its main logo for the first time in the last decade, but you might have trouble seeing the difference, is what Forbes says. Facebook updated the typeface of its word mark to make it sleeker and thinner, with more white spaces in between each letter. The new logo also uses a single story, that's a, while the old logo uses a double story one. The social media giant said the change is intended to freshen up the logo and make it easier to read on mobile devices, which often have poorer resolution than desktop computers. Facebook said its initial logo was designed with square typeface for viewing on desktop. But now, nearly 90% of Facebook's 1.44 billion users access the social network from their phones. Please note that's 90% of Facebook users using or accessing Facebook on their phones. When Facebook's logo was first created in 2005, the company was just getting started and we wanted the logo to feel grown up and to be taken seriously, Facebook creative director Josh said in a statement. Now that we are established, we set out to modernize the logo to make it feel more friendly and approachable. While we explored many directions, ultimately we decided that we only needed an update and not a full redesign. That's what Josh had to say, and that's what is being reported from Forbes.com. And the fourth story we have for today is from business.pinterest.com. That is the official blog of Pinterest. And they are talking about Bible pins starting to roll out from last week onwards. We had already talked about Bible pins in one of our earlier podcasts. So they're talking about how earlier this month we announced Bible pins, the simple, secure way to sell your products on Pinterest. But last week they actually started rolling them out in the US pinners on iPhone and iPad can actually access this Bible pins. And they've just listed out, how it actually works, how your business can get involved. See, there's blue, that means that you can buy it. You will start seeing Bible pins all over Pinterest, in the home feed, on the boards, and in search results. If a pin has a blue price, it means you can actually buy it. Say you're on the hunt for a new jacket, try a search, then swipe through all the Bible pins at the top of your search results. Filter by price to hone in on the right pin for you. You can even compare all your color choices right in the pin itself. You can also actually favorite a pin if you're not actually ready to buy it right now. And then there are new ways to shop. To see some of our favorite products, tap over the new shop, our picks category. To see all the latest Bible pins, check out the shop category. There's a new shop category and there's a shop category. Now we're talking about the Bible pins. It says shop millions of pins. In a couple of weeks to come, 30 million pins all over Pinterest will become Bible. You will soon find products from different brands. And it also includes retailers powered by some of the biggest brands and thousands of Shopify stores like Polar Outdoor Stuff, SOBU. All these people are going to start selling on Pinterest, and you'll see a lot of pins, approximately 30 million pins coming all your way. And before we close this out, we have another tip coming your way.
Okay, the third tip I have for you today is again regarding Facebook, and it's for all the marketing enthusiasts and people who are trying to reach out to all the people out there through ads. Basically, Facebook has launched a creative accelerator program. A lot of you might have heard about it, but to tell you a brief about what it does is it's the ability to target people based on bandwidth. So people accessing Facebook with lower bandwidths or on feature phones and on low-end smartphones can actually see a different version of your ad. Now, to give you an example, Nestle Everyday ran a brilliant campaign on using the Creative Accelerator program, and they increased their brand awareness by about 9% and their purchase intent by about 5%, according to Lighthouse Insights. You can go check out the case study to get more details as to how well they penetrated the market. But the basic idea is the behavior of content consumption is changing from the netizens, and it's reaching out to a lot of rural areas and people who don't have as much access to internet or the high-end mobile phones. So this is a great way to reach your audiences wherever they are, and now there are no excuses that my ad or my campaign cannot reach out to the right people. It's a great initiative by Facebook. Make sure you go out there and try it. Thank you. And you can follow me at KaushalBK on Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you so much for the tip. And for those of you who are listening to us and have something to say, you can leave a comment in the comment section below. And you could connect with us on Facebook as Web Marketing Academy, on Twitter as WMA India, or you could get in touch with me directly on MANASI. That's Mansi at webmarketingacademy.in. I hope you've enjoyed the weekly updates. Catch you same time next week. Until then, this is Mansi signing off with a bye-bye.